Recently, I watched Sean Baker's 2004 film Takeout. I guess considering all the talk about Sean Baker during this awards season, I decided now was a great time to go and check out his earlier works. And as I was enjoying the film, I couldn't help but make comparisons or at least notice similarities to another film, The Bicycle Thieves. And I realize this might seem a very flattering comparison, but I think it's one very deserved. The Bicycle Thieves doesn't need much introduction. It's widely considered one of the greatest films of all time, and I'm sure it's put many a first year film student to sleep. But for those unaware, The Bicycle Thieves is a 1948 Italian film, directed by Vittorio De Sica, that stands out as the shining example and face of the neorealist film movement. Its plot is simple but effective. In a war-torn Italy, a man has his bike stolen, which is the sole source of his financial survival, and so he must spend the rest of the film searching in vain for this bicycle with the help of his son. Takeout presents a sort of similar issue, but through a very different lens. It follows a Chinese immigrant who owes $180 to violent loan sharks that he has to pay off by the end of the day. The film follows him running delivery after delivery for a small Chinese restaurant, desperately trying to make the money he needs in a rainy New York City, which is unwelcoming and full of casual racism.
3. No speaking English? No? Okay.
While the narrative of both films are simple and straightforward, it is in the desperation of the protagonists that they become so engrossing. By establishing these stakes so early in the film, it gives the seemingly mundane action of each protagonist much more weight. And so both films don't have to constantly introduce new conflicts to create that traditional sense of growing tension. You could call the films repetitive, but since they never resolve their initial problem, the feelings of dread and desperation grow as each minute of the film pass by. Both films utilize non-actors and were shot on location. This, to me, is one of the most essential parts of realist filmmaking. I mean, imagine if you had a super realistic depiction of an impoverished individual, but it was like starring Chris Pratt. It would feel disingenuous, if not grossly offensive. Plus, another benefit is that when you work with non-actors, they have undoubtedly shared experiences similar to those of the film. And the benefit of on-location shooting sort of speaks for itself. Naturally, a film captures reality more when it's shot in a real place. It's in the cinematic technique where Baker and De Sica differ in their approach. De Sica uses what I'd like to call the quote-unquote objective camera. He understood that audiences knew that cinema wasn't reality, so he actively worked to remove cinematic techniques from his films, avoiding flashy camera angles, overly artistic shots, or unconventional film editing. The camera and the filmmaker wish to become invisible, and to appear as if the camera is simply an eye on life itself. Baker takes a different approach. You see, just like regular language, the visual language of film is constantly evolving. By 2004, when Baker made this film, what defined real film had changed. The increasing popularity of consumer-level cameras and the existence of the cinema verite documentary had caused audiences to associate amateur, shaky digital images with being a better representation of reality. And so Baker takes exactly that approach. You know, these films are almost 50 years apart, and they explore very different cultural ideas. Italian identity post-World War II versus Chinese identity in a post-9/11 America. But they capture similar ideas. The endings of both films, which I don't really wish to spoil, are somewhat similar, in the sense that they both capture the uncertainty of these existences. Neither film really revolves itself. Today is ending, nothing has really changed, and we don't know what lies in store tomorrow. I think Ebert was right when he called cinema an.
Machine that generates empathy.
I think one of art's most important functions is to let us experience, if only a fraction of, a different experience, a different lifestyle. If only to make us more understanding, more nuanced, more kind, and approach the world with more, well, empathy. And to me, it's the neorealist films, like Baker's or De Sica, that do this the very best. Admittedly, they can be a bit challenging to watch. They are by no means traditionally entertaining, but they're more powerful and more important. And we needed them in 1948. We needed them in 2004. We need them now, and we'll need them even 100 or 200 years into the future. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Eggnog, and until next time, I hope you stay safe and keep watching movies.